Welcome to Unlocking Our Code podcast. Tonight, I'm here with Lou.
Hey.
And we have some exciting news that we'd like to share with our audience.
Yes, we do.
And we've decided to make a shift in the middle of this journey of this podcast. Our new shift is going to be that we are changing our name from Unlocking Her Code podcast to Unlocking Our Code podcast.
Yep, our code. I know it's so our podcast, is, you guys all know, and we thank you very much for everyone who's been listening. We've gotten some amazing messages and great feedback, and we target, our target and our reach was for the female, right? That's who we kind of always envisioned helping, and making sure that or trying to help our message go out to the female. And like I said, the messages that we've received from friends and from people that we don't know that have heard the podcast and have been able to resonate with the message or our messages, it's always been so heartfelt. It's been touching, and we're so thankful that you guys give us this feedback, and you guys are actually listening. But we, in the midst of all this, we've also been receiving feedback and messages from men.
Yes, and we've definitely felt a big calling to serve both energies, the masculine and the female energies. And it's why we've chose to shift from just serving the female energy to both parts equally. And this call came from different messages we received, not only through like personal experiences we've been experiencing ourselves, to just synchronicities from the universe leading us to this decision to shifting to both energies.
Yeah. I feel that, this week, Stevie and I, we've been talking back and forth, and we just feel that certain things, like she mentioned, have been leading us here. And, the more we talk about it, the more we've been saying, like, how can we, it's great. I feel that, the women have all this, you find stuff that reaches out for women, that is there for women, that's to help them. And all this support is given to the female energy and to the females, and women supporting women, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm always going to be all about it. I have daughters. I want them to be empowered, but not only that, I want them to also know themselves so well, like in depth, that they can always control their reaction, right? Mm-hmm. So, but it's not only that. It's like, I think when I mentioned to you, Stevie, where I said, we want women to be empowered. We want women to know their place and know where they stand, and heal and transform. But men are such a huge part of every female. Every female in this world has been molded, shaped in some way, shape, or form by a male, right? Whether it's their dad, a family member, an uncle, and a brother, a boyfriend, the first love, the husband, whatever, a boss, anyone. So, the fact that these men, and it's hard. I feel like for men, it's hard for them to get that help, right? It's more for women. Men even know that. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's women. My husband says it all the time. You women supporting women, you and women. But it's like, how do we empower women, and how can we help women if of our other half, and not necessarily meaning like a partner, but there's a feminine energy, but then the masculine energy, who's like what support do they have, and how can we become like whole if the masculine energy is suffering? Like how can we balance each other out if the masculine energy is always suffering? And I want you to kind of share how the messages that you've been getting this week. But I feel like for me in my journey, definitely going through what I'm being so self-aware about, what I'm realizing about myself, my triggers, my the work that I've been doing with the inner child and everything with my inner child. And then I'm like, how do I keep moving in my journey? And then I'm like, I turn around and I'm like, my husband's, well, I love my husband. Mm-hmm. I want him to come with me in this journey, I want him to be with me, a part of it. And I need him to grow just as much as I'm growing. So how do I move on and transform but not bring my husband with me? So that's one thing that I realized this last week, within a conversation talking to my husband. Mm-hmm. And we had to have a deep conversation. It's one of those times where you're just like, certain things get brought up and then he's questioning things, and I'm trying to tell him like, well, if you really want to go deep, we'll go deep, mm-hmm. if you're ready. And how hard it's for a man to go deep.
Very, very hard. Very, very difficult. And I feel that it is why we felt this call, right? We not only because of the synchronicities we ourselves were experiencing, but also I feel like there's just such a call at this time from the masculine energy for help, for mm-hmm. support, so that we can support the energy to elevate, to ascend along with the feminine energy, yeah. Right? I over the weekend had a lot of synchronicities from the masculine energy. I ran into people during the weekend, 2 males, who just made it very clear to me that we needed to service both energies. And these 2 males were very much in pain, with little to no support to talk to anybody about what they were going through. And these were random people that started opening up as I was in their presence and sharing their pain, sharing what they're experiencing or have experienced due to their journey. And it made it very clear to me that, okay, there is a call from our masculines for help. I felt it like that, right? Not only in the physical, but this is also an internal journey. Yeah. So what we're really saying actually behind all this is that we ourselves want to be whole. Mm-hmm. We want to bring harmony and balance into both of the energies inside of us.
Yeah.
And we like to offer that in service and invite others to do the same, mm-hmm. right? And how do we service one energy without servicing the other? I don't think for us, at least in the podcast, it didn't feel the right way to keep going on. So it's why we chose to go on this path. I feel like the men definitely need a channel of support, mm-hmm. now more than ever before, because now there's actually a call for action, a call for help. We could see left and right, not only in our personal life, how our own men are suffering from carrying trauma,
yeah.
from not speaking about how they feel, from being disconnected emotionally, and from not having support.
Yeah.
Like women, we're great at that, right? We're great at creating great spaces for women, but now we are going to also create a safe space for men,
yes,
for both energies. And we're super excited to start this journey, to shift into this way. I feel like it opens so many doors and so many more conversations. And that's what's exciting about being able to use this platform to share our message and to reach both energies.
Yeah, I know, when we talked about the healing the feminine energy, or and it was I remember getting, somebody asked me like, okay, well, I wasn't like in tune with my feminine energy. I think I am, like, I need to shut down. There's something along the lines of like, I need to shut down my masculine energy. And I was like, it's not that you need to shut it down. You just need to know how to balance it out, Definitely. It was more like of, not needing to, like you said, serve. We need to serve them both, right? And we need to know how to work with both of them so we can be whole. But then we're talking so much about the masculine energy. Again, men are out here saying, they need that space, or they feel like being masculine, they envision it as in being a certain way. I will say this, and I remember one of the things that, and I'll share it, I don't mind it, but one of the things that that my husband and I discussed, and it kind of it stuck with me, right, was when we're talking, and obviously as a man, he like, when he's upset, men tend to be like, they're upset, they're like, their man comes out, right? They're like, their masculine comes out, and they get loud, and it just, their voices just like boom, like, okay. And I told him that, I said that you need to figure out how to tone that down when you're in the moment of that anger. And he said something like, and this is again because of the way the men see it. He said something like, in your podcast you talk about men needing to act like men, and now you're telling me to that I can't act like a man, and he said in different words where I don't have to repeat it, but he said, now I have to act like, in other words, like, be like, be more like, oh, now I can't act how I'm supposed to act. And I was like, he actually did say, he's like, and now I have to act like, now I have to be a little bitch, and I just can't be a man. And I was like, okay, well, I said, well, there we go. You have an idea in your head of what a man is supposed to be. When I get mad, I'm supposed to rage and be like, like a big, but that's what you're feeling, that, oh, well, I'm a man, I'm masculine, I have to be that, but that's not what you need to be, and if you can express, and that's what I told them, I'm like, if you can express what you're feeling without getting to that level, it doesn't make you any less of a man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you less, like, you having to rage, you having to, like, you feel that you have to prove something to yourself, to be in that masculine. So it's that they're hurting in the masculine, that the way they see what the masculine is supposed to be is not accurate either, And then we're not talking about all men, obviously, right? I feel like that's one thing that we said to each other. We are going to change or shift, right? So now we're just pretty much opening like the floodgates and saying like, hey, we're for everybody, right? So sometimes I feel like our episodes are going to be more for one or the other, but it's going to be, we want it to be like a balanced approach. But it's about, and we did say, are we worried that we're going to get mixed messages, or men are going to say things like, who do these girls think they are? They don't know shit about us, But we also did say, it's fine. The man, or actually any person, in this case, let's just talk about everybody. The person that, whether male, female, that is ready to listen, that is in that moment of their life that needs that message, is going to listen, right? And those that are not ready for the message are not. And we're perfectly fine with that. So it's not for everybody, and we understand that. And we're okay with that, you know?
Yeah.
So again, we're not here to say that we know everything, that we're perfect, that we are, no, but definitely not. We're far from that. But there is something that needs to be said that I feel that has made such a huge impact in my life. And that comes from being aware having that self-awareness, having this amazing clarity that when you start to really get to know yourself, like for me, let me speak for myself, that I really got to learn myself. And then I started to see the shift in me. I could now see it in my husband. Like I could now see, wait, if I struggled with all these things and I internalized all these things and now I understand them and I can like separate everything and stop being so reactive and start being more understanding, more self-aware. Now I could see things in him. And now that I could see things in him that could be way deeper than what we thought was a surface level thing. Now I feel like I can understand him and I can see him from a point of love. I want to do nothing more but understand him and kind of like, and tell him like, okay, it's okay. Like I'm not gonna run away. I'm not asking for, I don't think like, I'll never say never, but at this point in my life, I'm with him and where I'm at, I'm just like, we are going to get through this stuff together, because I have that compassion. I could see things so clearly now, where I can understand like what things come from a place of pain. And not that I feel sorry for him, but that's not what I'm saying, but I empathize with him.
Yeah, and if we could share that message across the board to the audience, whether it's the message goes towards the female or towards the male, then how great could that be, right? I feel like now that we can share both aspects or both perceptions of whatever episode we're doing, it's going to be more powerful to do so, right? And we will be able to reach those that are ready, and those that are ready will feel the call to listening.
Yeah. And we have so many people that have reached out and say they want to be a guest. They want to come on, they want to share their story. And we're talking about stories that carry so much pain. And we're not only talking in the female, we're talking about men that are grown men that have family, that have kids, that have wives, that have done that or have not, they've gone through a journey themselves, that are willing to come in and they want to share their stories, which leaves us in awe. Like, you want to be vulnerable, and they're literally saying, yes, give us a platform. We need to be heard. Like, why isn't there enough of this, and maybe there is, but maybe again, I feel like everybody reaches a level, a certain time in their life where they're fully ready, and maybe that's when now they're ready, and it's our duty to help them with that.
Yeah. And I feel that now that we have the blessing of having this platform, it's important that we share our message across the board to both, right? What I experienced this weekend, seeing like direct pain in these men's eyes and stories and words, it really made me think that society has created such a lonely world for our men too, not just for us. It's not just women who are alone or mothers who are alone. Men are also alone. Men are also in pain. Men are also like suffering in silence. And I feel that men are suffering in silence even at a greater level than women, because in a society that accepts the emotions of a woman, right? That's very accepted. That's very normal for a woman to be emotional, for a woman to cry, for a woman to react. But all those things are not fully accepted yet in our men. And we see it because not only do we see it in our own men that we share our lives with, and our fathers and our brothers and our partners, I see it in strangers as well, and I feel that loneliness could in some ways be heard if we open up our platform to that, to those conversations. There's a lot of men struggling with mental health, suffering in silence, disconnected from their emotions. They're also seeking for support, even though they're not saying it out loud. I feel like that's also a thing. And however, there is a little bit more rejection from seeking support because it's not a manly thing to do. To say I'm struggling, to say I'm suffering. It's not seen as a manly thing to do, and it's why I feel like, okay, if we can, let's normalize things, not only for women but also for men that have been in the shadows for so long. So we are going to invite our listeners to just have an open mind, and those that feel called to sharing our podcast, or even giving us feedback, or even like sending us any ideas of what we could talk about with when it comes to men. We welcome the men to reach out and with any feedback as well.
Yeah, because it's true. Like, if women feel that our feelings or our emotions have been suppressed, just imagine a man. We women can stop and cry, and anybody will be like, oh, she's just an emotion. She's going through her emotions. Let her do her thing. When can you see a man stop and cry if he wanted to?
No.
He's not allowed to.
No.
Not in this society. You're not allowed to show your emotions and cry. Like, that doesn't happen. Men go through so many things. They're supposed to be, they also have fears, and they're supposed, and all these expectations of them. And then there's women out there that are hurting, that have pain, and expect the man to be a certain way. And when the man has all these suppressed emotions that he doesn't even know what to do with, they're just bottled up. You can't just bottle up all the emotions from when you're a child. And these are from when they're a child, because they're not supposed to cry. You're a boy, you're not supposed to cry. No one's asking them how they're feeling or what, you're supposed to protect, you're supposed to provide, you're supposed to be the strong one. And they have fears, and they're not allowed to show they're afraid. Like, that is intense suppression. And so again, for us females that we've sat here and said we want our man should have A, B, C, D, and E, all these standards and all these things that we expect from the man, but yet we only want to heal ourselves, we only want to work on ourselves. We also need to give the tools to the men to be able to heal, to be able to, even if they just hear one episode and it makes them feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this, all right, it's just not me, hey, I relate to that guy, dang, I went through the same thing, I'm feeling the same thing, I'm also afraid. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how I'm gonna provide for my family. I don't know how I'm gonna, make sure that my family's okay. Sometimes I have those fears, but for them to be able to, even if they can't say it to their spouse, is because, again, when you say providing that safe space for them, as long as they can say it to themselves, as long as they can hear it from someone else and feel that connection that they can relate, I feel like that would be really helpful for them. Because we all know we all have mental health issues, right? We all have suppressed emotions, we all have fears, all of us, women and men. And so, like we mentioned in the beginning, it's just about giving a balanced support approach, and again, and hoping that somebody, even if it's one person that can hear us and say, hey, thank you for putting that out there, and that was really helpful. Like, I'm seeing things from a different perspective, or yeah, Matt, I really needed to hear that because I feel the same way. That is a connection right there, and we all need that.
And just imagine, there's two things that I wanted to mention. Like, on the weekend when I ran into one of the males, he's telling me the most horrific story about what he's dealing with in his life, right? And there's like no emotion in his face as he's telling me this. And as he's telling me this, I'm like in tears. Like, I cannot believe that you're telling me what you're telling me. And he's like, and he tells me, because I ran into him at a restaurant in the bar area. And he tells me, this is why I'm always here. This is my safe space. The bar is my safe space. And I just looked at him like, oh my God, like this is where you come and bury your pain, where you come and suppress your emotions. Like the bar is your safe space. Mm-hmm. Like, wow. You know, that was like eye-opening for me.
Like not his home, not his wife, not his kids, not his home.
No. Yeah. The bar and strangers. Mm-hmm. You know, so just listening to his story and it really just did something to me where like I left and I was like, okay, we need, our men are suffering. Like the men in general are suffering and we need to answer that call, right? And open our channel to these conversations for both, both, not just the females, but the masculines. I had a second thing, but I just forgot what I was going to say.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Say two things.
Oh, it'll come up.
I feel like I feel like when we talked about the mother wound, it also like helped us see something different. You know, as we did our work, because we have to do our work.
Oh yeah,
right. We have to do the work before we come out here and we talk about anything. So we do the work on what we're gonna talk about on the episodes. And let me tell you, it's deep stuff that we have to go through. You know. Anywho, with a mother wound, I think when we did that, it kind of gave us a revelation of, as a mom that we have sons, and then I kind of put two and two, like we also have spouses. How did the mother wound affect our spouse? And then I kind of thought about my brother too, and then I started thinking about Greg too, everybody was affected to it differently. And so I think that was kind of eye-opening, hearing Greg say also that, that he learned something new about himself after that conversation. Hearing Frankie, your husband, say that he learned something new after listening to that conversation. That was kind of eye-opening for us too. So I think that definitely led us to where we're at now. And I think we just literally unlocked something after that episode.
Yeah, I felt like I went home, and the next week after that, I kept feeling like, well, I have so much compassion towards the feminine energy now. And I could hear my masculine energy. What about me? Where am I in this whole picture, right? So then it just made me also start thinking. And I feel like I opened my heart through us unlocking through that other episode. Yeah. It unlocked the masculine energy in us as well. For us to answer that call, because we were able to see the feminine energy with so much compassion, understand it, do the work behind it. Now it's like answering the call for the other part of us, right? The masculine energy. And I definitely also felt it. Even after that, even after that episode, feeling all that all week and then running into the synchronicities that weekend, it was in my face, undenied, I couldn't deny it. Yeah. Right. And I felt the stronger, guidance and intuition to just tap into this part of the journey. And I feel excited. I feel that so many beautiful things will be born out of this. We are excited to bring some guests as well, not just females, but also men, and just unlocking more conversations and just diving deep into both parts, right? How women are affected about certain thing and how masculines are affected, and just sharing both of our stories. And if one story can help somebody else, then hey, the mission is is completed, right?
Yep.
When it comes to us sharing our message. So I feel like was really shifting is the message and how we are going to go about doing our episodes,
Yeah.
like moving forward.
Yeah. And again, I mean, doesn't mean we're only going to focus on one more than the other. But it's now, I think what we want to see is like, or we would love to see, and if you guys feel like it's something that that you guys want to do, is seeing our listeners, our current listeners, if we do know that there's men listening as well, so we thank you for that too right now. But any female listeners, if you have a partner, if you have a brother, you have a boss, any male in your life is sharing the podcast and saying like, hey, not saying that you need it or what, but everybody can, you can pick something up from it. And so just broadening that, and hoping that we get good feedback, or whatever feedback. Doesn't have to be good, but as long as it's it's real, and that's all we're asking for.
Yes, definitely. We're excited about this becoming a channel where both energies can learn something, can hopefully pick up a thing or two where they can heal or become aware about certain parts of their journey. So we're definitely excited about that.
We can't wait. So that is what we, with this episode, that's what it's about. And so you guys will see some changes on our Instagram, and the information we start sending out. And again, it's going to be for everybody, it's going to be helpful for everyone. In our Instagram page, the name is, if you guys have noticed or not, it's already changed to Unlocking Our Code. It was Unlocking Her Code, and we're very proud of that name. But now it's just Our Code, Unlocking Our Code.
Yes, and I'm excited about what that will come up. I wanted to share a really powerful quote that one of the coaches that I follow, his name's Danny Morell, and he wrote that as our men heal, our women heal. As our women heal, our men heal. As both heal, our children heal. As our children heal, our world heals. So, like, how can the men not be such an important aspect of this journey, right? Mm-hmm. I feel that that's the second part I was going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
That's where it was coming from. It was that right now we live in a world of a lot of violence, right? There's a lot of violence in the world. And I feel that when both energies, the masculine and the feminine energy, have reached to a point of love in their energy, where both energies have been able to see that and embrace that in themselves, we will have a world where violence will no longer be needed. Because if our men heal and our women heal, the world heals.
Yeah.
Everything, the world, everything in our planet will heal.
Yeah.
Immediately. If we all went on a love frequency at this time, right now, at the same time, you will see a whole new world appear right in front of your eyes. Yeah. And it's why I feel that we feel this call very deeply. Like, hey, we're here to answer a deeper call. Yeah. It's not just one energy. It's both energies that we definitely want to service.
Yeah, I love that quote. It's exactly what we're saying, that it needs to be a balanced approach. It just can't be, we just can't just focus on one and then expect, so then what happens to our other part, Mm-hmm. Because they are our other part, they are, whether you have a partner or you don't. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. A man it's going to impact your life, or is impacting your life right now as we speak. Doesn't matter what, in what type it is, but they are.
It's an energy that lives within us all, right? So like the masculine and the feminine within us, if you're a female and you have a husband or a boyfriend, that person is representing the masculine energy in you. It's mirroring back the masculine energy in you, and then you will mirror back your feminine energy in him.
Yeah.
So if there's a conflict in either the female or the masculine, you will see it in the physical, right? So if I'm having an issue with let's say I'm having an issue with my husband, right? Then what I have to do is look in. Where am I struggling with my own masculine energy? And if it's the husband towards the woman, where in him is he struggling with his feminine energy? That's really what we are. We're mirrors. We're just mirroring each other's energies from within.
Yeah.
Right? And it's why these topics that we bring out will be focused on that, on bringing healing and harmony and balance and resolution to these energies that begin within, and then are reflected in the physical.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's bringing balance, and we after this one, we plan to. You guys will see us integrating, like Divi said, our guest, whether it be man or female, and we just plan to bring you guys a lot of good, feel good stuff. Sometimes it's gonna go deep. Sometimes there's gonna be pain, but just like she said, keep an open mind and see what you guys can get out of it. But for sure, more than anything, we're very grateful and thankful for those that are listening and the people that are reaching out. Keep reaching out to us. Let us know, because we are getting that. We're getting your guys' messages, and even sometimes they're just sharing their stories. They're just opening up and they're just sharing their story. And sometimes they're very intense. Yeah. And so I feel like when that happens, it's because something in our episode definitely sparked something, moved something in them. Mm-hmm. And then they're just sending us these messages of this crazy story, this just happened to me. And I'm just like, oh, shoot, Mm-hmm. But if they didn't hear a message, or if you didn't hear our episode, imagine them just carrying all that with them, Mm-hmm. So thank you for letting us know. It makes us feel good that you guys are connecting with us in one way or another. It makes us feel good that what we're doing is exactly what we came here to do. This is what we wanted to do. It's what we've always wanted, to be able to share something. But apparently we just had to be in the right place in order to do it. We just couldn't imagine us doing this 10 years ago. Yeah. We would have been like,
no way. And how blessed we are that we're able to be in the frequency and the place and the level that we are, to share our wisdom, to share our stories, to open this platform to both energies. Yeah. That's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And I truly, truly feel that we're going to see some beautiful episodes be born out of this. And we are super thrilled to share it all with everyone.
Yep. So you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around. We hope that you guys take this and hopefully it helps everyone, and our females, our males. And again, give us a feedback. We are now at Unlocking Our Code Podcast on Instagram. Mm-hmm. For those that are following us already, you'll see the change. But anyone that is not following us, just follow our page on Instagram. You can find me also on The Plug by Revive. And you can find Divi.
You can find me at Divisai Coaching Center. And we also want to encourage our listeners that have partners, have them follow the podcast going forward, right? Yep. Even if it's an audio little message that they hear, trust that even one word can really plant the seed on somebody else's mind for change, for transformation, for healing, for understanding. So we truly encourage the females to now share it with their partners, because there's going to be a lot of great conversations, including relationship conversations now, and parenting. I mean, we're going to have many different amazing topics, and we are thrilled to share it with all of you guys. We will see you, or you'll hear from us next weekend. Next week on our first episode. And thank you for listening.
Yep. Thank you, guys. And not only your partners, but share it with any male in your life. Not only your partners, but brothers, friends, anything.
Yes.
But thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.